Welcome everybody to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast. If you're new to the channel, please be sure to like and subscribe for more content. For this review, we are talking about Quantumania, the third Ant-Man film in the MCU. Akram, since you are just fresh out of watching the movie, I wanted to get your thoughts on the film.
Yeah, sorry guys for this late review. To be honest with you, it was a huge letdown. It didn't even feel like it should have been an Ant-Man movie. It felt like it was his own thing. Sometimes Ant-Man wasn't in the forefront, and it felt like other characters took the limelight. And I don't know, that kind of disturbed me. I don't know what Peyton, the director, was thinking. I think he suits different types of styles and genres a little bit more better. But we'll get into that. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I have to agree with you. I was kind of let down. I mean, the first two Ant-Mans, they were okay. They weren't my favorite, but I think they kind of had a rhythm going. This movie kind of interrupted that rhythm. I think they really struggled with finding the voice or the tone of their movie. And I think a lot of that is due to Kang, which I'll talk about in a bit. But yeah, there was just a lot of strange choices in this movie. And the humor just did not hit for. I feel like every MCU movie now just needs a laugh track or some shit. It just, I don't know. It was weird. It was like it couldn't decide if it was like a family film, if it was like an adult comedy, if it was like a dark drama. It was really strange.
Right.
The visual effects, though, I thought were amazing. I'm not gonna dispute that. I think the aesthetic of the movie was really great, seeing what the quantum verse and how it's kind of like evolving. But yeah, some of the characters, I mean, we see an older Cassie now. I think I actually would have preferred a younger, or when she was like little, but you know, now that she's grown up, as we saw in Endgame. I didn't care much for her character, to be honest.
Me neither.
And just like the whole, I think honestly, Michael Douglas is gonna leave after, if they ever do a fourth one. I think he's gonna. He's just, I don't know. What did you think of some of the characters in the movie?
Yeah, well, who's notable there is Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. But before that, I think I'm a little still disturbed, man, about Kathryn Newton. I like her as an actress. I just wish they had the other girl. I felt like they kind of did her dirty, but I heard there's some tea and stuff, and we're not going to really get into that. But she was fine. Something, at least it wasn't like OP contemporary. I know that's an issue that you have. We might see that a little bit later on. For sure, she's going to be lead weight into maybe a Young Avengers down the line or something like that. So it's cool to have her introduced. I think Evangeline, Lilly too. I think her thing with Kang was really interesting as well. And then we also get a lot of different Easter eggs here. We got Bill Murray, and yeah, so, but I think the weakest link probably was Paul Rudd's performance was great. I just felt like Scott Lang here was a little bit off. So yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame because you know, whenever you think of like a third movie, you think it's gonna be their last movie. You never know if there's gonna be sequels. So this movie kind of feels like a setup for bigger events and for Ant-Man's supposedly final movie. I kind of didn't want that. I kind of wanted it to end on a, I don't know, more joyful note, perhaps. And Kang, I'm not gonna say Jonathan Majors didn't kill it as Kang, but I just feel like he didn't fit the tone of this movie. There's another character, which I won't spoil, that does appear in this movie, that is a Marvel villain. I think he actually would have fit more for the tone of this film. But yeah, we also have Kang coming out in Loki and Kang Dynasty. So I was like, why did we need another Kang appearance? It really didn't make sense. Although his performance was great. I think he adds a level of menace. But like I said, it didn't hit for me. It felt like a complete clash of tones in this movie.
Yeah, completely. And that villain you mentioned, I think would have been actually a better villain, a main villain, for a Ant-Man movie that's so centralized on just being Ant-Man rather than building towards the next thing. And I think that's the problem the MCU is facing right now. So who's to say? I don't know. I think a lot of these people won't return. I don't know when's the next time Scott Lang will return. But hopefully, you know, in the hands of probably different creatives, I think it could maybe work out. Go back to the roots, I'd say, is the safe bet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the future of Ant-Man holds, honestly. I mean, if they'd made a fourth movie, I would kind of want it to fit the tone of the first two.
Yeah.
Even though they weren't like the most memorable films, I still think Scott Lang's films are they've always been like this kind of like comedic kind of side of the MCU, and I kind of like that. This film, I think, was just like a weird installment. It was kind of like, it was, for me, it was kind of like Thor: Love and Thunder. It was like a weird, like the bad child of
Yeah.
his film series. I don't know what they were just thinking of when they made this. Weird choices overall, but uh like I said, some of the characters were fine. I mean, Michelle Pfeiffer, she has a big part to play in this, and she has a close relationship with Kang. I won't get too into it, but it's kind of like her story, and I kind of wish we would have delved more into her story. Actually, it feels like she was holding back a lot of things, and it felt like she was going through this kind of traumatic experience, and that's why she didn't really want to convey a lot to her family. Um, but it felt at times like the stakes weren't really there. There wasn't really any immediate threat, and it felt like this was a completely different movie from what the trailers were implying. Because the trailers made it seem like Kang was gonna help Scott get time back with his daughter, and I'll tell you right now that that isn't the film at all. It's completely
No.
different, and it feels very generic and very, I would say, I don't know, poorly written or something. It didn't feel like what they were trying to advertise it as. What I'm saying, but um, yeah, if I had to rate this film, honestly, I would probably give it a 6 out of 10 to be nice. But yeah, how about you, Akram?
That's generous. I probably would give it a 5 out of 10.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the weaker link of the MCU. Another one, unfortunately. The chainmail is starting to become more and more brittle. But why don't you take us away?
Yeah, well, guys, this is only part one of our review. We are going to have a more in-depth discussion with spoilers, so stick around for that. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and you can check us out on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify as well. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us, guys.
See you guys.